This week on the Full 90 podcast, we sit down with the Absolute Bandits, better known as YouTube royalty Capguntom and Oakelfish.
And with over 25 years in the YouTube game, we delve deep into their individual careers, from the creation of FIFA Bingo to playing in the first ever Wembley Cup. And more importantly, we ask the question of why they decided to stop uploading FIFA videos and instead decided to pursue a golfing dream. This is a podcast you do not want to miss.
This podcast is part of the Acast Creator Network.
Welcome back to the Full 90 podcast, and it's safe today, Richard, we got a special episode because we haven't got one guest, we got two guests in the hot seat.
We've doubled down. Two guests as well that, I mean, me personally, I know a little bit about, but I'm excited to learn more about. Over 6,000 videos together that they've published. Close to nearly 25 years of YouTube experience between the pair of them. You might know them individually, Capguntom Oakelfish, but we're going to welcome you as the Absolute Bandits, fellas. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much for having us. Made us feel a little bit old straight out the gate there. Kind of like ease
That's what we
into
do.
it.
That's what we do.
Ease into it. And you're just like, yeah, 25 experience. Like, cheers, guys. Yeah.
It's crazy because it's been such like a wild ride to get to this stage that it doesn't actually feel like 12 years. But every time I go back and actually do the maths, I'm like, oh yeah, I have actually been in this game for 12 years now.
Frightening stuff.
How old are you both?
I'm born in the 90s. Let's leave it at that.
Early or late?
Very early. Right on the cusp. Don't ask him.
I'm an 80s baby.
He's an 80s baby.
I just slid in there by about 6 months, but yeah, 89, so that makes me 34.
But absolutely, as Rich said, we've got FIFA royalty on the podcast today. We're going to be speaking about, you know, the individual series you've had, the journeys you've been on. Now you're moving into golf. But as always, in full 90 fashion, pre-match drink. And I put my hands up for this one because
You had
these
one
guys,
job.
These
You had one
guys
job.
asked for certain drinks for the podcast today, and a certain supermarket let me down. Oakley wanted an Iron Brew, and Tom wanted a Blue Powerade. Instead, I've sort of half done you well there, Tom. There's a Blue Powerade
his is
for
closer to the mark than mine. But let's be fair now.
And look, there's no Iron Brew in stock, but this man always goes to the gym. I see him in the gym, so pretty much on every Instagram story. You've got a Blue Machine Super Smoothie.
The thing is, though, mate, you say that, but I've heard that these things aren't actually that great. In terms of I'm sure they taste amazing, guys.
Yeah, there's probably a bit of sugar in
There's
there.
a lot of fructose from what I hear.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
They do. If you buy one of them on its own, it's about £3. So
Are we
I hope
rate-
you got- I hope
rate
you
as
got
a meal deal.
I hope you
Rate
got
as a meal deal.
If you want to get it down, you can get it down now.
I'll
You
have a
can
little-
enjoy it
I'll do a
throughout the
little
pod.
taste.
a little sip. Little sip.
Just a quick one. Iron Brew. Why? It's an interesting.
Iron Brew
taste.
Extra, actually, by the way, guys. Extra, it's just sugar-free version.
Just not happy.
It's not Blue Powerade, is it? There's something quite magical about Powerade. It's just different.
Right, forget the podcast.
It's done. No, I love Iron Brew. I don't know what it is. I absolutely love it. And I've seen a few TikToks recently where you can make if you guys like gammon, you can basically make like gammon in Iron Brew. I don't know if you've seen it. You boil it in
I have
Coke,
seen that, yeah.
boil it in Iron Brew.
Yeah,
Apparently,
yeah.
it's something
I swear, Fanta.
spectacular.
I thought Fanta was the first one to do that.
Listen, I don't know, but I've just heard Iron Brew's meant to
We're
be
cooking
the
channel now. Cooking channel. What have you
Don't
gone
get him
for?
started. Don't get him started.
I could go into detail on cooking.
I haven't got a coffee.
Just that.
Has anyone ever had a ginger shot before?
Yes.
Delicious.
I won't speak how
Yeah.
much they cost, but these fire up your throat.
And
What have
your
you
immune
gone for?
system as well. Very good for you.
I was in a bit of a rush, so I just stopped at Gourmet Station in Crewe and
How
got
much is
a
that?
water.
20 quid?
£3.40 for a bottle of water.
Unbelievable.
It's outrageous.
Unbelievable.
What's
Fun
the one
fact,
to?
I was at that gourmet cafe about 2 days ago, and I got a coffee in Crewe.
That's good, Cass.
That's mental. Anyway, we're rambling on there. Anyway, welcome to the Full 90 podcast, gents. Thank you so much again for taking the time out. We wanted to do this one together for you both. I mean, as Richard said, to come in on, you're the absolute bandits right now in terms of on the UK golf scene. What was the idea there? 2 years this channel's been running for. You know, you went into golf. I'm guessing you both love golf. What was the mindset and
It's
behind
funny you
that?
say that, actually, because it took a lot of strong-arming Tom to actually get him out to play around. We used to live together, so a little bit of history for you. So in 2016, we were in a house together with a few other creators. Some of them have been on the podcast, AJ3. We're also with Reeve, Homeless Penguin Rob, and Tobias Gaming. Lived together, and I just couldn't get anyone out to play golf. None of them. And it's now funny that
All of us.
everyone
All of
is
us
like
playing, yeah.
encapsulated by it. It might be because I was the oldest one there, aside from Tom.
Yeah.
Couldn't get him out to the golf course. Lockdown hit. And I think it's pretty much immediately after that you had a little bit of a taste for it.
I can tell you what it was. Effectively, I was living in London, in Stratford, and I mean, we ended up buying a house after lockdown because we were just so sick of being stuck inside. Moved out to Hertfordshire. Kind of was like, one night I was like, all right, I see my mates out in Hertfordshire. I was like, what do you guys all do out here? And they were like, golf. And then I was like, no, you'll never get me out of the golf course. Lo and behold, 3 months later, I'm out there with them. And then I'm fully addicted. And now we're, 2.5 years down the line from that point?
I think it's definitely a thing that happens that slightly older you get, you start appreciating it, especially after lockdown. Everyone was obviously going through the same ordeal of being in. Just to be able to get out. And I don't think you can find a sport where you spend more time out in the fresh air than golf. You're out for 4 or 5 hours around, depending on how good
a day, this man, a day.
Are you two the sort of golfers it's around a golf then in for beers? Or is
on a Saturday, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Midweek, no. You gotta have some control.
Coffee, hot drink.
I'll be honest with you. I spend as little as possible when I'm actually, because golf is an expensive enough sport. I'll bring my own packed lunch with me, and also just because of the fact you can only eat so many sausage rolls, it does get slightly excessive.
I save the sausage roll for really prestigious courses.
You have to,
because they are amazing.
If you're at a good course, you have to indulge in a sausage roll.
Yeah.
We've been to a certain golf club that we won't name, and Tom was less than pleased with the hoisin and duck wrap that he got.
Oh my god, it was so dry. Don't talk to me about that wrap.
So you're a big golf fan before you played, I'm guessing?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'd say that I was a golf fan in the sense that I loved watching Tiger Woods. I was actually terrible at golf. Still, arguably, I'm pretty bad at golf. But I enjoyed watching, and I was lucky enough to see Tiger in his prime, smashing it. I'm that old, sadly, guys. But so that was kind of also, it was always a sport I was interested in. My dad watched it as well, so something like that. But it wasn't until, like I said, about 2016, 17, that I started playing it a little bit more, just because it was just fun. You hit one good shot with golf, and that's the beauty and also the curse with it is that you can hit one good shot out of 100 bad shots, and that will bring you back. And then from there, obviously both of us in YouTube already, obviously with our FIFA stuff, we already had kind of a decent setup in the sense we had some camera equipment, we had some microphones. Since then, we've obviously upgraded. But we had the bases there to get going, and that's kind of what we did.
You've been enjoying it?
Loving it.
Prefer it to...
I mean,
we've had some ups and downs. We've had some ups and downs.
We've had some really good times. We went out to one of the best courses in Portugal last November, and that was just incredible. So, because of that, we do get a little bit of love and get to go and do some stuff we wouldn't do otherwise.
I think there's real sort of potential. I think we've seen it recently. I mean, Jimmy Bullard, he's obviously I watch a bit of his stuff, tubes as well. I think there's a real opening for up and coming golfers, or I mean, would you say amateur?
Yeah.
Golfers, sort of. I could see you two on Sky, walking around with Rory, and he's taking shots and you're just chatting to him, and I think it's become more. I mean, my dad really enjoyed golf. I played it a little bit when I was younger, but sort of phased out teenage years. I think there is a real upbeat in golf right now, and I mean,
definitely.
Have you felt that?
100%.
I mean, when you started the channel, was it just a passion project, and it's turning into more? Or
you know what the thing is? I realize I'm taking all the answers here, but I'm going to carry on anyway. I definitely feel I know I keep referencing lockdown, but I really do think that was a catalyst for how many people got back into it after. There might be similar situations to me. I know Tom used to play when he was younger as well. It's just that thing of being able to then get back out and having the freedom again. I feel really caught people's attention. Also coupled with the fact that there's obviously been a lot of developments in the pro scene as of late with Live and the PGA Tour. It's all been back and forth, and there's the money that's been floated around is insane. I think that in itself has brought a lot of media attention, where formerly you'd see it in football. You see, this player's gone for X amount of money, and now it's John Rahm's just signed for Live for 500 million or whatever it may be. You know, it's insane money, and it has definitely brought a spotlight back to it. But also, I think golf kind of had a bit of a stigma about being a kind of older person sport, I guess, in a weird way. Also, it wasn't really that cool and current.
I mean, for me, I'm from Barnsley, South Yorkshire, very working class. It was always a very upper class sport,
which really should. Obviously, at its peak, of course, it's going to be. But I think in any sport, you get that it's going to be
100%
really expensive. But there's nothing to stop you. You could go down to a charity shop. In fact, you could go to your local dump and get a set of golf clubs for a tenner, because they're thrown away. They're right there. If you're buying a premium golf ball, it's going to cost you £5 a ball, roughly. but you could buy a bag of flipping lake balls and it's going to cost you £1. You know, so it's as expensive as you make it, but as an entry level, of course, if you want to buy the best stuff, it's a lot of money.
I think that is one of the things with golf. It is a barrier to entry. You have to have, you know, your own clubs, your own bag, your own clothes for it, and you have to look and be the part when you go out onto the golf course, which I think is a deterrent for a lot of people to actually even get through the door. But once they're through, that's it. All of those are lifted, and it's just a case of going out and playing.
It is also becoming a lot more accessible, though. Like for example, the attire you've got to wear at a lot of clubs. I'm a member of quite a traditional club, but even they're kind of wising up to the fact that you're able to wear hoodies, for example, now on the golf course, whereas before that was unacceptable. Even like golf shoes that traditionally had spikes and stuff. Now you've got Nike Dunks who are creating golf shoes, which are basically the same, just with a tiny bit more grip on the bottom. So it's definitely becoming less traditional, but also has got the kind of core, I don't want to say uniform,
principles,
but dress code. Exactly that, yeah.
Well, it's been going well for you guys. You said you've been launched, 2021, over 4 million views, 150 videos you've made, and you've done a lot of collaboration within the, I guess, the past and current FIFA scene with creators. How good is your network, would you say, Tom, in terms of, like, who are some of your closest friends from, you could argue, the golden days of sort of FIFA YouTube?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting the golden days, from when, like, I would say the sort of like the 2012 to the 2016. I made like the core group of friends in the FIFA community that I've just been friends with ever since. You know, those were the times I met like Bates and Nep, Harry. You know, I did series with half the Sidemen, and you know, that was kind of like the opportunity at the time to meet those people. It was through the FIFA, and then those sorts of relationships have just lasted on and on and on. And even if we're not so much doing stuff on FIFA, golf has actually brought a lot of those people back in, because everyone is getting to that age. It seems like the 30 kind of year old mark is where people just immediately switch and then start thinking about golf again, less about gaming, for example. So all those people are now getting into golf, which is, you know, great to be able to just reconnect with them really and go out and play rounds of golf.
Best FIFA golfer?
Ooh, that's a good question. Best FIFA from our friends.
Yeah.
Not including ourselves, I'm assuming.
If you think it's you.
Oh, it'll definitely be one of us two.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I'd say there's a few up there. Like for example, Freezy. He's played in pro-ams, which is something that I think I'd struggle with massively. Got a great swing in him. If I'm being completely honest, I think I've got to say Reeve. The guy's he's an athlete. He's an absolute specimen of a man.
What was he when he was younger?
He was
like
a junior.
county champion.
He's actually won some stuff. He's got credentials to back it up.
I bet he's got a strong drive.
Doesn't it driver? It's 3-wood.
3-wood, and
he's so big, he hits it probably
very well, very
well.
So. I mean, I'd have to say those two, just based on experience. That's no disrespect to everyone else that's involved in the game at all. But I mean, if you're hitting balls at Wentworth, which is one of the most prestigious clubs going in this country, possibly globally as well, I think there's a case to be made for it. And you're doing that in front of grandstands and crowds. I think that takes a certain type of character.
Just before we move on to talking about old school YouTube, FIFA, one last golf question. Dream course to play on?
Augusta, without a question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess it's got to be.
What were you going to say?
Yeah,
you were going to say something different.
I mean, you can make the argument St Andrews,
No,
but
you can't.
I feel
you
like
can't
it's
make
much
the argument.
more.
Augusta.
It's the home of golf.
Nah, it's Augusta,
it.
bro.
But like the fact that Augusta is so exclusive, you have to say it just in case they're listening.
I think if there was if they were to do a blind auction for a 4-ball round at Augusta internationally, I think genuinely it would go into the tens of millions. Because I think even though those people have got the option, they've got the money to get there. I honestly think it'd be that much.
It would be a lot of money.
Whereas St Andrews, I feel like it'd be great to play. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. Hey,
It's
listen,
accessible.
St
That's
Andrews.
the
If
thing.
you want to invite us out there,
Yeah.
we will go.
Yeah, you can get on there though.
You can. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's the thing. You can. Whereas Augusta is just closed. There's no way to play it other than maybe like 3 or 4 different ways, but you have to be like in the media.
Got to be invited in.
Invited,
it's
you know.
So rare.
I mean,
rare.
even the past champions aren't allowed to go and play without a member. So that just shows.
Who do you? It's coming up in April. Any predictions?
Who's going to win?
Yeah, getting it in early.
I think.
Who would you like to see win?
Tiger.
Okay.
He's got Tiger or Augusta. The thing is, I'll hold my hands up. I'm a Tiger Woods fanboy. And I would love to see him win major after major after major. Is it going to happen? I'm not so sure. Short of that, I mean, you'd be a fool to discredit any of like the top players like Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm.
Name any other past champions?
No, but well,
I've got a bit of a soft spot for Colin Morikawa.
Do you?
Mm.
I don't know if I put him in.
I like him. I don't know why. I just like him.
Yeah, I get that
enough.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think also I'd like to see, if I were to pick somebody not Tiger, I think I'd like to see Rory win it.
Yeah,
I think that'd be quite nice.
He had a poor round last year, didn't he, if I remember.
But he's been playing some good stuff. He's been playing some good stuff recently.
He'll complete the Grand Slam if he does.
Exactly that. Career Grand Slam, which would be a great thing to see.
I feel like I know nothing about this conversation. My last question on the golf stuff. Yeah. Funniest moment on a golf course? Do you ever have a bit of like, fall in the lake, toe in the lake?
I think the drinking video that we did recently with Harry, probably we were laughing the whole time.
It was comical. It was comical for reasons that if you were to us describing it now, just wouldn't be funny. If you're living, one of those things.
You got to live the moment.
Yeah, you say oh, what would be great? It's on a night out. You say, oh, I'd pay so much money for this with a camera crew recording us. It was that. It was that moment, and it was just there's so many funny bits there. There's been multiple times where we'd have a little bit of trash talk before somebody hits off the tee, and then they go and do exactly the thing that we've said that they're going to do.
Don't stick it in the water.
Don't stick it in the water.
All I can think about
exactly that. Yeah, but that video, it was a pub golf video with Harry, and also we got a lot of credit for the fact that we were actually able to tee off a few drinks quicker than Harry, which was also quite high plaudits.
Feat in itself.
Exactly that.
How long have you two known each other for?
Too long.
It will be. Do you remember our first time meeting?
I do actually. It was at a Call of Duty event.
Must have been
not too
2012,
far.
I think.
It was Call of Duty Black Ops, if I'm not mistaken. The launch of it.
Yeah.
And we were the last two standing from the. I don't even want to say the word beginning with I, but the talent, if you like, that were at this event.
Is that I influence us?
Oh, I don't like it. Anyway, so we're the last two standing. The rest of it was all members of the team of.
The Call of Duty.
I think it'd be Sledgehammer or whatever it may have been at the time. Perhaps Infinity Ward. I can't remember. No, it was Raven, I think, or whatever it may be. Anyway, we're the last two standing, and then there was a very expensive whiskey shot that was bought for us, and we were actually wanting to leave, so we necked it, and then went on our way.
I think the guy wanted to sit down and have a chin waggle for a half hour, but we were already on the way out.
We didn't read the room very well, but yeah, we were on the way out, and that was it's been a long old time actually, very long time.
By the looks of it, Tom, YouTube, your channel started in 2008, I believe.
Yeah, if you want to throw it back that far,
what was you? I'll be honest, I didn't get that deep on your videos because there's 4,000 of them.
Yeah, it's difficult to scroll back that far, isn't it?
How long before YouTube became full time?
So I started my channel that early because I was so into Call of Duty 4, and I would, I was one of the kids that was like running around with a sniper, doing 360 off buildings and stuff like that. And it just got to that point where people were like, I was telling people the stuff I was doing in the game. People were like, no, you're not. So I was like, right, well, I'll get myself capture card, get the old Dazzle.
Prove it.
You remember? Yeah, prove it.
The Dazzle. Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah, that's before it was even HDMI's. That was
that's like red, white, and yellow.
And so I made a bunch of Call of Duty videos, like montages, which actually did really well. Like, by the time standard, probably like 40, 50,000 views on some of those videos. Most of them are gone now because they've all got copyrighted music on. But then I just shelved it because I was just like, it's never going to be anything. This was before YouTube ever really took off. And it wasn't until university, I think, when I put up a couple of FIFA videos and they just sort of like took off as well, that I kind of made it a full-time thing. It wasn't until after uni though. Like, I went and got a job in recruitment, and after 3 months I realised it was not for me. And so, I just gave the YouTube thing a full-time go at that point.
Did you finish uni?
Yeah.
And what was your degree?
Computer games technology, so designing and programming computer games.
Nice. When you shelved it for that little bit of time, you went to uni. Were you still gaming? Were you still in the space? Or
yeah. I've always been into gaming. Obviously, I went off and did a whole degree in it in the meantime. And I mean, it was just one of those things. It's just like, you have to really want to do it to do YouTube. You have to think about how you're going to film it and how you're going to edit it and all that sort of stuff. And that was just passion stuff at the start. There was never really any thought behind it. Just a bit of fun.
Record, upload.
Yeah, why not? Record, upload. That's what YouTube was about at the start, wasn't it? And then I guess when I came back, at the end of university, started in my third year during the summer. At the end of university, I was making like couple £100 a month, and that goes a long way at university, especially if you're up in a place like Nottingham. That's like an extra.
Back then, I bet it was about 50p for
25p for a can of Coke back then, mate.
EQ on a Monday night, 69p a drink. Great.
Last one on that. So, what year was it when you gave up recruitment and went back into YouTube?
So it would have been. So I started on FIFA 12, and so I think it was like the gap between FIFA
2012, 2013,
2013, maybe. Yeah. So that would have been it.
we sort of had then a sort of a golden period, didn't we, where there was a lot of money coming into it from outside sources. I know when we spoke to Neppy, he was sort of running through some of the numbers that coin sponsors especially were bringing in. Did you see it as, when you're starting to do these videos, FIFA 12, FIFA 13, FIFA 14, as, okay, this is getting pretty serious now? Or was it still just passion project, I just want to upload?
I can remember sitting down with my parents and being like, they were like, you can't do that as a full-time job. I said, listen, this is where I project my channel to be in a year. This is what it's making now. If it keep on growing this way, this will be kind of where I'm at, and I'll be financially stable. And so they let me like basically move back in home and try and do that. They gave me that year with the, you know, the intention that if I didn't get to that stage, that they'd just turf me and make me go get a job. So thank God they did, because yeah, it was lucky. But I guess like realistically, when I started, I wasn't looking for money. It was just sort of like, oh, this is quite fun and I can make some money doing it. I remember like on FIFA 12, we were getting paid like £5 a video by a coin sponsor. So it was, you know, it's decent money when I was uploading twice a day.
We uploaded 4,000 videos. We take it.
Exactly.
What did you, in your opinion, if you can even remember, what did you need to make for it to be a job back then? £1,000 a month, less than that.
In terms of money?
Yeah. I was looking at like what versus like minimum wage would be. Like I was like, oh, okay, so you know the national average income is around about this. If I'm making that, yeah, that's good. I don't really need to, because realistically, who's going to choose to go? No disrespect, but who's going to go and choose to do a minimum wage job versus staying at home playing FIFA and making videos? You know, you've got those two options. I mean, there was no real foil for or thought that the FIFA scene would blow up in the way it did and sort of like create a whole life for me. But, you know, it kind of did. So
on the other side of it, you were a little bit later into the FIFA YouTube game.
Definitely later into FIFA.
But you love Call of Duty as well.
I was into Call of Duty big time. I'd actually say my ability in FIFA compared to COD is not comparable, because I was the worst FIFA YouTuber at actually playing the game. I'd hold my hands up to that. I got
Call of Duty?
Call of Duty, I'd give anyone a run for the money. Absolutely. I took Tom out a few. That's actually how we first met. Also, I met like Callux, for example, was in a Call of Duty lobby. Some like my old friends from back then, like Mike Fearcrads and all those people, then they're massive in the COD scene. Really enjoyed it, but I started off doing like challenge videos are kind of where I started, and that was off the back of an old Call of Duty YouTuber doing this challenge, like to eat a raw onion. And I was like, well, that sounds ridiculously easy. I ate it, and it got like 5 times the amount of views that I was used to get. Well, I say 5 times, it's probably a lot more than that, like 25. I got like 25,000 views. For me, I was like, wow. And this is on an old contract where you'd be getting like $2.50 for every view, is what I think it was. So I was like, that's a load of money, because I was also at university, and it kind of, that's where it started to transition into be able to do it as a full-time job for eating an onion.
Yeah. A few of those challenge videos did ridiculous views.
Yeah,
like
really
good
well.
views. Did you, at the time, were you just living in the moment, or did you see there's only so many challenges I can do?
Oh,
before you
definitely.
transitioned
But also,
out?
I was doing stuff to my body that I shouldn't really have been doing, and in hindsight, it was stupid to do. So that's why a lot of them have been taken down, because a lot of the...
So eating an onion, what else?
That's obviously at the very low end,
Yeah.
but there'll be stuff where, you know, you try to drink 3 pints of something in 30 seconds, which would be, I mean, I could do it, but it's whether or not in hindsight I should have been doing that sort of thing, because, you know, you don't know how old some people are watching the videos, you know. I had one which the best video I had in terms of the challenges was the Banana and Sprite challenge, which did well to start with, and then it just blew up because it went on this Canadian show called Tosh.0, and I was at the top of the search, and it got like 3 million views or something ridiculous. Sadly, it's been taken down now for reasons I won't get into. But yeah, it was just crazy. And that was actually at the time where I was still umming and ahhing as to whether or not I could do it. I had a job at a factory during the Olympics putting together radios, and that video blew up, and I quit my job. And then that same evening, I flew out to Gamescom, and then that was it. After that, I just carried on going.
Was it ever the case of, obviously you said you weren't doing great things to your body, but the views were just too good, so you just pushed it?
I wasn't abusing myself at all. It was just like something I probably shouldn't carry on doing this. But a lot of challenge channels were doing the exact same thing back at the time, and it's not like I was physically hurting myself. Because, like I said, I've got this ability for some reason to be at a pint of water or a pint of Guinness. It can go down at the same amount of time. But it's just also, do I really want that to be
what you're known
what
for?
I'm doing? Yeah, exactly.
As well, yeah.
So then, what year would you both say that you could make it a full-time thing in terms of YouTube?
2012 was when I went or stopped doing anything else and started just doing YouTube.
Yeah, 2012 for me as well. It would have been the tail end of 2012, but it was 2012, maybe 2013.
I think it was 2 days after Summer Olympics stopped in London was when I actually officially did it, because that's when I quit my job at the Radio Factory and then went to Gamescom.
Why do you think back then there was such a boom for sort of FIFA content?
So that wasn't even FIFA for me then.
2013, 2014.
Yeah, I think this is probably more Tom's area of expertise. I didn't get in until later.
Because you came in with FIFA Bingo.
Yeah, that was like 2015, I think. So I think that was the real boom period for me, especially 2015, 2016. But there was like boom periods for other people. I think like the 2014, maybe 2013 period was like more like pink slips and wages and things like that, which I wasn't really that much of a part of. I did a couple, but you know, I didn't really like the competitive side of playing FIFA. I guess at the time they did a really good job of building a community on FIFA. I think that it felt a lot more pure. It was just this really good idea of Ultimate Team. Everyone just really got on board with it. Playing the game was actually a lot of fun. Like you weren't incentivized to do so. I feel like the difference between FIFA then and FIFA now is people feel like they only want to play to get the rewards, whereas back then there wasn't any rewards. There was just like literally nothing. I think FIFA 12 had a bronze, silver and gold cup, and you get like 1,000 coins for winning like a 4-game tournament. And so people were playing for the love of it rather than playing for the rewards and to build their team at the end of it.
During that sort of the boom period for you, that FIFA 15, 16 era, what were your sort of day-to-day like? Was it just, I'm in the boom now, I've got to hit it every single day, upload?
I was an animal. I was like, I was like, the thing I guess with being a YouTuber is you have to be so self-motivating. And to do that, I just had to really just compartmentalize what I was doing and make sure that I had like a strict schedule that I did every day. So it'd be like, get up. I was always the morning streamer. So I'd get onto Twitch and I'd be streaming from like 10 o'clock in the morning until 2, because that's when I felt that I could really
monopolize that market.
Because the other thing with YouTubers is to get up ridiculously late. So you know, I'd finish and then hand off to someone like a Nep or someone like that who would then run the afternoon into the evening, and I was just like, I'll have that time, and then it would be a case of just making one video, and I'd be usually doing Road to Glories, I think pre 2015, and then after 2015 it was like Squad Builders, sort of like series, and also FIFA Bingo. And FIFA Bingo is just such a good series for me. Just every single one of them just did crazy numbers.
Why do you think that was? Simple idea. You didn't have to follow the game to be involved.
I think that it was the simplicity. It was before opening packs was really a thing. Because nowadays streamers generally, it's like you log on and they're just sitting there opening packs and they're just opening. Back then it wasn't really a thing. Whereas, so I sort of capitalised on that, and I took it into a way that you didn't have to pack something good for it to be a really good video, you know? Because pack openings, the only way you were going to get views is if you could title, oh my god, I got X player. So without needing to put that in, you could get bang videos, and I think it was just a good format. It kept a lot of people engaged with, and you know, the retention was high, and then they'd go on to other videos as well, like they'd go on to other FIFA bingos.
And for yourself, were you watching from afar? Like, when did you get into the FIFA YouTube space as such? Did you see the boom?
No, I'm trying to remember when it was. I think I did dabble a little bit. Pretty much, there's a Call of Duty that came out, not to talk ill of any Call of Duty, I love the franchise. However, Call of Duty Ghosts was enough to put me off uploading that because I just didn't get along with the game.
2013,
I think it must be about 2013, thereabouts. And I still play Call of Duty now, like I absolutely love it, like Warzone, Verdansk, absolutely love it. But I just transitioned away from it, and it was like, well, where can I go? Because obviously at the time I had all my friends were in the Call of Duty space, so, and it wasn't really, you didn't really collab with people per se. Like you might do a dual com is what you used to call it, or whatever it may be. Whereas now, obviously, almost every single video is a collaboration. And so it's like, well, where can I go that I've got some friends that are doing something else, and it was just happened to be FIFA. So that's just why I made the kind of sidestep, as it were.
We spoke heavily with Andy in our last episode at the Full 90 about the importance of collaboration, and it seemed like back then in those years when he obviously was creating his own series, you had FIFA Bingo, you know, you had Rock Paper Stat, Guess Who, everyone had their own series. How important was that? Because it seemed like that was the main driver.
I think it was vital, to be honest. I I feel like it's kind of actually, YouTube's a funny thing. I feel like it's got like full circle. So I feel like collaborations had like a massive peak, and they are obviously still quite important in certain series. Well, a lot of series. However, I think you're seeing a lot of creators that are doing really well from doing solo stuff and actually not doing collaboration within FIFA. If they're doing collaboration, it'll be like real life football videos and stuff like that. So it has definitely still got a place there, of course, but you see like a lot of, like I said, like solo people, and also like the kind of pros are doing like a lot of stuff solo, and it's like different challenges, and that's what it used to be back in the day, like 7 or 8 years ago at the start of the cycle. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back round again, and then collaborations become the king.
Genres really are cyclical. It will just keep on going round and round. Because I mean, like, I think Andy's channel was doing really well when he was uploading things like the tallest team in FIFA, those sorts of videos. And now you'll see a pro, it'll be like the tallest team in FIFA. Can I go 30-0 with it? FUT champs. So it's kind of, it's the same stuff just being recycled, but I think we'll probably end back up in the collaboration stage at some point.
Did you ever, obviously collabs during that time, huge, as you said, still are now. How did you manage a friendship trying to get people to collab all the time without seeming like you're just wanting them to collab all the time?
It's easy. The thing is, I think that's the thing.
Is it because you're good friends?
I think if you're friends with somebody, I don't think you see it as that at all. I mean, there'll be definitely times, especially myself, more than Tom, for example, because Tom's got a rap sheet as long as your arm, or like people he can get in touch with. But that's the issue. When you don't play the game, you've got to find somebody that's willing to spend FIFA points on something. And more often than not, those people tend to be people with a coin sponsor. Because otherwise, why would you want to, spend money if you're not going to spend money on the game? For example, if you're an RTG channel, you're not going to want to jump on my series because you've got to spend FIFA points, so it's not going to work.
You've also got to remember that YouTube really is like a you can help me, I can help you game. So if you are like, getting a lot of views, people are going to be much more open to coming onto your series to collaborate because they know that they're going to share audiences and stuff like that. So
we asked a very similar question to Andy, and I want to ask the same to you because you obviously that FIFA bingo and the series that you've done were huge. Did you see the impact that you could have for other creators as well during that time of like, I can help people out here?
Yeah, I mean, like, from my point of view, I always wanted it to be like reciprocal, something that if they had a big audience and I had a big audience, it's great, like that's a match made in heaven. But if the other person, for example, didn't have a big audience, I wasn't immediately like, oh no. If I thought, you're really good crack and I think the video will be really good, I'd have them on. It wasn't always just sort of like a numbers thing.
Do you have any idea how many episodes you've made of FIFA Bingo?
Of FIFA Bingo? I used to make them twice a week during 2015. I kind of I phased them out over the years because packs became so difficult to actually pack anything from. Like, I kind of phased them out, but I would probably imagine 200-300, something along those lines.
Do you know the answer?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
Probably more episodes of Team Takedown, to be honest.
And then Team Takedown came around. 2015, I've got that down for. 2019, you started that. January 25th, that's on the dot, roughly.
Yeah.
How did that idea come about? And was it a case of I've just had enough of FIFA Bingo? Or
no, I was actually running. So at the same time as FIFA Bingo, I was running another series, which I can't actually say the name of because it's probably demonetized. It
starts with letter S.
S Squads.
There's a famous DC film with a similar title.
And that was just like, it was like a mental squad builder that was all about timings and all kinds of stuff. And it kind of wore thin on me, and I was looking for something to replace that. So I kind of, because then it became quite difficult to think of a squad building series that hadn't been done, and you don't want to end up crossing over a line with other people's series. Everything's got their unique kind of or USP, and so I thought the whole sort of like building a squad and then deconstructing it backwards by asking questions was a good way to go, and it made like a kind of like a detective game out of FIFA and squad building in some ways.
How hard is it to come up with new series ideas?
Very difficult,
really
I'd say.
difficult.
Very difficult.
Really difficult.
The main thing is you want to try to incorporate the best bits of other series without actually taking the best bits of other series. Even harder when you're funneled in again, but to myself, it was my own self-doing. But I, for example, would only do stuff around packs. In fact, the part of the YouTube game I hated, especially on the FIFA side, was actually playing the game.
Is that because you didn't?
I was terrible.
You weren't good at it.
I'm
You didn't
terrible.
want it to be
I'm
out there.
I'm awful at the game, and it's just I just constantly get battered. So from my perspective, I'm just losing hundreds of thousand coins. I'm accepting the fact that if I go into a video,
You're discarding something.
I'm losing. I'm losing something. So it's just a matter of how much is it going to be? Exactly that. Whereas obviously there's a few other people. Well, in fact, everyone else is decent enough at the game that it might be a 50-50, or some people are so good that it might be a 70-30 coin toss or whatever it may be. So that's a difficulty, like trying to come up with pack ideas. Tom hit an absolute jackpot with FIFA Bingo because that was just such a good series. I used to love uploading that, and that's a funny thing is that often when I would upload FIFA Bingo, they would do better on my channel than sometimes they do on the Return on Tom's channel, that was just like so funny.
And obviously you had your own ideas, Oakley, rock, paper, stat, guess who. I'm sure there's a few more in there as well.
Yeah, I milked those for as long as physically possible, staying away from that.
How many of those videos were you? Like, what was the recording schedule? Was it just try and do 4 videos a day, or was it do one every day?
Obviously, you're confined to the amount of packs that they release. But earlier on, it used to be so easy, man. Like you could do a pack opening with 1,500, 3,200 FIFA points, and it would be a good video, and you probably get 100,000 views. Now, if you're not spending, honestly, I'd say during Team of the Year and stuff, people are spending tens of thousands of pounds to do these videos. Whereas back in the day, you didn't have to do that, so you could just make. Guess who when it started was like using 15k packs. You'd use 5 of them and you'd be able to do a whole video out of that. Whereas it kind of got to the point where EA might release 10, in fact they wouldn't even do that, 300k packs. I don't even know what it is now because I haven't been on the game for a while. 300k packs. If you're trying to do a video on 2 channels with 3 packs, it's almost impossible, especially from the actual weighted, how many players you're going to get that are usable from those packs, because obviously you want to make it interesting, you want it to be a walkout, but when 9 times out of 10 you're getting a Sergio Busquets, which used to be the one that was so common, it's just not enjoyable. And then you have to answer to people who'd say, "Oh, why aren't you posting more of these?" It's like, well, because they're kind of going downhill.
Yeah. Just quickly on that, what's the most you can remember spending in 1 year on FIFA points?
Honestly, I did not spend more than I had to. I was actually quite frugal. I'd say at most I would spend, and this is genuine, I think I spent maybe £400 a month tops. Like absolute most.
To 5,000 a year roughly.
I wouldn't even get to that because there'd be months where I wouldn't spend a penny because I would be just
in the back end of the game where it's down a bit.
I feel like we might be getting a different answer from Tom.
Oh yeah, I mean I spent quite a bit more. I think the thing was when I was opening the most packs, I wasn't actually spending as much money as I would have to now to get the same equivalent, because you'd be able to go and buy yourself accounts. I remember I think it was FIFA 15. Buy an account with 52 million coins on it for £150.
It was ridiculous, man.
52
it was crazy,
million.
Man.
That is absolutely obscene. Like you can't do that. There was a huge problem with that. Like every single card on the game was going extinct at that point. Like you know, Team of the Year Ronaldo's were 15 mil, Hullets were 15 mil. All of them were just like gone because coins were so cheap. But now, like I think probably the most I've ever spent, maybe it would be 5 figures, but it wouldn't be high 5 figures.
10k?
Say maybe about 15, maybe. Yeah, I was always quite frugal. I was always very good at like sort of, you know, sourcing the SBC packs and all that sort of stuff to make it a bit cheaper because,
he was good at it. I was just tight.
Question for you both, because I think you might get different answers. The current state of sort of FC as it is now, YouTube, and the style of videos, how you talked about like the process in terms of the cyclical process of going, the years go by. What's your take on right now, sort of FC YouTubers? And then I'll come to you as well. Moving away from it, why did you move away from it? And did you see where it was going potentially? But to you first, Tom.
So
be as honest as you like.
Okay, yeah,
but not too honest.
Yeah, realistically, at the start, I was playing when I started in FIFA 12. I was playing FIFA all day long. I would have had 4,000 or 5,000 games on that, and I wouldn't get anything from it, like other than enjoyment. Nowadays I would only play FIFA, you know, for a video. I think I have got a lot older, and so obviously my interests have changed. So it makes it difficult, especially since FIFA is now so driven by the gameplay. Not necessarily that people enjoy playing it or like the game, more the fact that a lot of the content is derived from playing the game and getting the rewards at the end of it. Whether, you know, there was obviously, I feel like the content was always aimed wherever you could get the best packs from. So there was obviously like huge era where we had, you know, sort of like the draft to glory. That was big for a lot of people because, you know, that was the best way that you could get good packs and people would watch to see what packs you would get at the end. Personally, for me now, I feel that the rewards aren't worth my time to play for. Like, you know, you get yourself a 100k pack for a week of grinding in Div Rivals or whatever. You're not getting anything. You're getting an 84 rated player. What's the point? Like, I genuinely think people would be better off, instead of playing Foot Champs and Div Rivals, if they wanted to play packs, just go to work for, or maybe do like 3 or 4 hours work, however much you earn, and then buy the pack. You'll get that pack quicker than you would by grinding the game.
Yeah, maybe that's.
But they're not cheap. They're really not cheap, and this is the thing that I think we can easily overlook sometimes. The fact, if you're like, what is it for? Like, they've got like 200k back, like 3,000 FIFA points. Like, what does that work out to be? Does anyone know the actual figure? It's a lot of money.
About 20 quid.
19, 20 quid.
20 quid is like, that's a decent, I don't want to say dinner, because I mean, flipping how much stuff costs nowadays, but you can get like an actual meal, couple of drinks maybe for 20 quid, or you can pack, what's an 84
Lucy Bronze 87 walkout.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like crazy. Like, obviously for us, like, it's content. But if I wasn't doing videos, there's not a chance to be spending a penny on it. I would not spend a penny.
I've got a question for you. How many like top tier players from the promo this year have you packed from those promos, from opening packs? How many could you say you've had, and how many would you say have got tradable?
Got
0 tradable.
And
Mary
not
Arts,
tradable.
Team of the Year,
Not tradable.
Untradeable.
I've packed 0. Really, yeah, 0 tradable.
Yeah.
Also, I think we spoke about this recently. The tradable packs that are actually given out is very few. Like,
very few.
During Team of the Year, I was creating content, I was streaming for a change, and I wanted to open some packs to try and pack some Team of the Year players, but the tradable packs that were there, it just weren't worth the money that I wanted to, like, I was willing to spend, and then I'm forced down the untradable route, in which I don't really want to open more untradable packs.
100%. That's it. I can remember a year not too long ago, so I can't remember exactly when it was, but I packed Hullet, R9, Eusebio, and Pele. Like, now, not a chance you're seeing that, unless of course, and even from like the icon packs, and I know that there are a lot of them coming out. Not a chance. Not a chance.
I can tell you, on FIFA 2015, I packed in Team of the Year. I packed 15 Team of the Years, including Messi and Ronaldo.
Oh, we've seen that.
And
we've
it's just, and
we've all seen that clip.
I know, yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks, Danny Owens. No, that was actually Inform Robin. That was the striker Inform Robin. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I wouldn't even get close to that now. I did have, to be fair, I had a really good Team of the Year. I didn't actually open very many packs at all, and I managed to pack Team of the Year Haaland from my first 12k. And
wow,
then, yeah.
That's good.
So that's unbelievable. But apart from that, I wouldn't. You're not getting, like, most people was like 100k deep and they still hadn't seen any blues.
You do a lot of share plays.
Yeah.
How many packs? How much? If you were to put a value on it, on how much you think you've opened for people this year, it must be up there. Tens of thousands.
Crazy. Well, my mindset on it is a bit different. Like, I would rather, and this is how I do it. Obviously, share play. If you do share plays, you're going to save money firstly. But the way I'll do it is, say if there's a big pack out, like a 700k, I will pay for half of those packs. So I'll give, in my chat, I'll give 5 people a £25 gift card each, and they get it for free that night. And then maybe the other 5 people are just giving to me, because you know, in a nice way, you can obviously do share plays without spending a penny, and you can enjoy everyone's FC points. How much have I probably?
You must have spent a bit as well.
Oh, I've probably spent about 1.5k, but then you're right, from all the people that share packs with you and stuff, you're talking some crazy numbers.
It just seems that this year it is like, you've got this is the struggle that we have as content creators as well. Every week we get a new promo, and we can afford like 80% of it because it's all worthless, and then there's like 3 players that are like 4 or 5 million. Like, in what year has there ever been a Griezmann card worth over 4 mil?
Well, we saw, as we're recording, I think it's the Fancy, the FC Fancy. We were doing some work with PlayStation over the weekend, so I didn't really get to see too much. I looked at Friday night, Vincent Kompany's 9 million coins, and I'm just like,
he's a centre back, bro.
Yeah.
What's he doing for your team?
So for you as well, you sort of, would you say you've transitioned out of FC now?
I'd say so.
What were the reason behind that? You just had enough, or?
I mean, there's a lot of layers you can get into it, but the bottom line is that I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I mean, when people would ask, like, oh, you know, what would you recommend getting into YouTube, or what is it that you'd give in terms of advice? It's like, do something you're passionate about, and if you've lost the passion for it, which I kind of have,
don't do it.
Just don't do it. And it's not, that's not to say that I'm going to completely not upload ever again. I mean, obviously it's been a slight hiatus. Still obviously very active on the Bandits channel. But it got to the point I was getting like messages. So I was like, I have to do something to let people know that I'm okay. Because there was a lot of people like, and it's, no, but the thing is, it's touching in a way because there's genuine care that something's wrong with me.
You got 500,000 subscribers.
Exactly that. And there was I was always going to come round to it. But the thing was, it's not that I didn't want to do a video saying I'm not doing this again because I didn't want to completely close the door. And also, it's not like I'm not going to post content again. It's just going to be slightly different content, which is what I said. And it's what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, the bottom line is kind of just practice what you preach, and it would feel wrong for me to carry on doing something that I just didn't have the heart for it anymore. And there was nothing like bad that had happened. It was just kind of think about it, sit down, and kind of just evaluate. And I was just like, well, you know what, not enjoying it as much. And I think it does definitely, as much as you can put on like a facade or whatever, because obviously it's not every week's a great week on YouTube. There'll be something that might really wind you up before you get on to record, but you can put a face on it. But if you're just not particularly, if your heart's not in it, you just got to kind of, I think you've got to be true with your viewers.
Do you think viewers can see that as well? You're not even
I think definitely to an element. I mean, they'd be able to see it for sure. I mean, bloody hell, like if I used to look at some comments on other people's videos when I'm playing a game and I'm getting absolutely smoked, of course I'm not going to be able to be like enthusiastic, and that'd be a top comment.
Good
like,
goal, well done.
Yeah,
Thanks, mate.
Oakley doesn't even look happy. It's like, yeah, because Oakley's 6-0 down in the first half, mate. Of course I'm not happy about it when I got prime R9 on the line, mate. But that's the thing, and it was just getting to the point where it was just, I'm really enjoying the golf stuff at the moment. And also, I've done a couple of videos since, which I really enjoy. I've done some videos with like Reeve, Harry, Theo and Lux, and that's what I want to do, like more fun stuff. And also, it's not like that's like me doing something completely new. That's what I started off doing. That's what I started off doing. So it's just kind of going back to it a little bit.
And then maybe like banana and Sprite challenge on the golf course.
Maybe, but that one will get taken down as well for wrong reasons.
Do you look? We've been in this space for sort of 5-6 years now, obviously in a commentary profession, but have touched content creation. You see so many people come in and just can't master it. The daily grind. You've got to be so committed. Both of you lasted and still are a decade plus in this game. Was there many moments where you were like, I'm just
almost had to stop. I've almost had to stop a couple of times just because it wasn't financially viable.
Yeah.
But it just seems to be one of these things that as a door closed, another one opened. Obviously, there was a period of time where FIFA coins were a very substantial part of like my monthly income, and there was a point at which EA just completely eradicated it for, I don't know, how long would it be, like 9 months or something? They were just completely gone. And I was like, well, what am I going to do now then? Because you lose 80% of your salary. Then what do you do? Then something else come up. There'd be like a brand opportunity that popped up, and that would kind of like bring it back up a little bit. Then something else popped up, and then obviously for all of us, we had Facebook, which popped up, and that's in itself, that's your year sorted. So it's like there's always something that's around the corner. But the only reasons I have ever considered stopping was just down to the financials. So the bottom line is, I absolutely love YouTube. I love everything about it, and even like on a bad day for FIFA, it's still the best job. And I've had a lot of jobs, but it's the best job I've had up until golf.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, YouTube, I think I'm a YouTuber before I'm a FIFA player. So I love YouTube, the platform. I like creating content. It's just that I think you have to be so involved in what you're creating content around, because it's your passion that will bring people into you because you share their passion. And if you don't have that passion, then those people aren't going to connect with you. I'm not done with FIFA. I still like the whole Ultimate Team element. I like it. I like the idea of opening packs. Not that I like spending money on them, but I do like the thrill of getting a good player or thinking that I can get a good player. I like Team Takedown in the idea that it's a puzzle to build a squad that has full chemistry, deconstructing that squad. I fall down when it comes to the gameplay. I just can't get on board with it anymore. I have a young family. I don't put a lot of time into playing, so that's probably half the problem. But equally, I haven't really connected with the actual gameplay side of it since they brought in FUT Champs. Like that was where it's sort of like my love for actually playing the game really declined.
You mentioned Facebook. I'm not going to get too deep into Facebook because I feel like
we have a Facebook.
We have a Facebook hour every stream, it seems, because a lot of people got that Facebook.
Everyone
deal.
got it, bro. Yeah. Everyone got it, and everyone was eating good.
How was streaming? Because I know you streamed for quite a while. streaming ever been something that you sort of...
I have to say, I loved that the Facebook thing. Obviously, I was in both rounds. There was 2 rounds. I wasn't in the very first one. I was in the second round and the third round. The contracts changed massively. Some people got a lot more hours than others.
Yeah.
I think the second round was a lot more strenuous. It was definitely a situation where you had to kind of grind out the hours, which wasn't necessarily great, but that's just the way it was. And also, you're still like, that was like, if you were to say somebody what you were doing and how much you were getting, and you were saying that you were considering leaving that, I think a lot of people would slap you in the face and say, sort yourself out, get a grip. Obviously, there's a flip side to that, because sometimes it's just too much. Yeah. It's just too much, and especially if you're streaming to not a particularly large or engaged audience. There might be people that just leave it on when they're at work. Yeah. They're not able to talk in the chat. It can very much feel like you're just talking to an empty room. But I loved it. I loved what I did. I was able to do like different games. It was a lot of fun. I look back on my experience there fondly. I think it was towards the end. Could have been handled a little bit better, the whole situation. But all in all, I really enjoyed it. And also, I still have a lot of the people that messaged me when I kind of slowed down uploading were people from Facebook. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of sincere people out there watching.
I also think as well, the third time round was right during sort of COVID. Yeah, it gave a lot of people a guaranteed income.
Routine as well.
100% routine.
Guaranteed.
Get up and do it. And it was. But the thing was, you are playing games, and they're games you want to do. I mean, I didn't have to do FIFA, which amazing. I was playing like a lot of Fall Guys. I think the favourite one for me was the Warzone. That was peak Warzone, and I was actually quite good at that. So that was fun. And like also, it's like 20 minutes per game. If you clutch up, you're like looking around, you're like, you want somebody to have seen it, because that's the stuff I'm normally doing off stream. And it's on stream, mate. So I can go back and watch it. Absolutely brilliant. So
the best way to finesse the streams, which I've seen from people, such as yourself and Andy, is you just record your YouTube videos on stream.
People used to get around it with that as like massively. I mean, it was. I mean, yeah, we don't have to get into that. we don't have to get into that. I mean, there's
do you go for lunch for an hour sometimes, or
no? I'd never do that. Again, that kind of comes down to, unless I was like, I'd be very candid. I'd say, listen, this is the situation. But I didn't actually have to do that. I think I did grind out. The only problem with the streaming deal was that if you had a holiday booked, you had to double down and that's where it became. It went from fun to that was work, and I can see in your eyes. There's some pain in your eyes, guys. Maybe not you so much. There is some pain in your eyes, so I know you know. I
don't know if I've told you the story of the podcast before. It would come up to Christmas, and I had to get my hours in. I think I had maybe 30 hours left.
And how many days do you have left?
Well, 25th. So
you have 5 days to 30 hours. Yeah. Man, I had a day where I did a 12-hour stint.
I had from the 26th to the 30th going back to Barnsley. So I had Christmas Day, New Year's Eve. Oh no. So with my girlfriend, I had dinner on Christmas Day, and I was like, look.
You got to go on Christmas Day.
So
wow, that is commitment, bro.
I banked 3 hours that evening.
Those 10 viewers were absolutely buzzing, weren't they? Christmas Day.
But yeah, good times.
That's it, mate. That's what you got to do. You got to do it. And the thing was, it did make it. You did appreciate, like, once you finished your contracted hours, you know that you could just fully enjoy the holiday.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. Everyone had different hours, and obviously we're not going to get into that just because you can't do that. But there are people that would have to do a lot more, like potentially 100% more, double, and that's where, for me, that's where the balance kind of.
It was about 8 hours a day, really, if you wanted weekends off.
And that's hard. That's very difficult, especially because, again, it doesn't sound like you're doing much, but you're doing a lot. Like it's a lot at all.
As well as trying to
be really on. You're not relaxed.
And having a life. Like you've got to have
social life, YouTube.
Yeah. It's not like I say regular 9 to 5. I've only had like a couple of those, but you're not just in one space. Your day does break down. If you're just you're here and you have to keep people engaged. It's hard work, and I tip my hat to everyone that managed to do that for so long.
100%.
So long.
Well, I think we're at a good time to call half time on the Full 90 podcast. When we're back from this quick break, we'll be speaking about opportunities in YouTube, what's next for the Absolute Bandits, and a lot more. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back to the second half of the Full 90 podcast, where we're joined by Oakelfish and Capguntom. We spent the first 45 minutes or so, Richard, speaking about YouTube as a whole, the Absolute Bandits kicking off, and I think we're in a really good position now to, explore firstly, gents, like you know, what's been the peak of YouTube for you? Like, what's been those moments where you sat there and you were like, wow, like
I'm living it.
This is amazing.
The flat in Monterey was unbelievable. So when we went out to the golf course in Portugal, they put us in like the presidential suite, and it honestly opulence. It was just amazing.
Wow,
we just walked
what a
in.
word, by the way. Where'd you get that one from? That's word of the day for sure.
Watch out, man.
That's a paid subscription right there. It was absolutely grand. It was gorgeous. Really, really nice.
That was kind of like one of those moments where I was like, wow, this is how the other half live.
Not
And
even the
I'm
half,
living-
man. That's how like the top percent.
That is the top percent. But I'm getting to experiencing it. That was pretty
incredible.
So that was Absolute Bandits.
That was Absolute Bandits.
Absolute
I
Bandits.
was going to say something completely different. And I feel a little bit bad.
Go on,
now.
no, you
I was going to go Wembley Cup for me. Shout out Spencer for getting me involved in that. Absolutely zero football experience. Literally zero. And so I'm going to say something now, and I believe this to be true. And if I get called out for it and it doesn't turn out to be true, I'm going to be absolutely devastated, because I say it at any party as like my little fun fact. So I believe I'm the only person to have made their 11-a-side debut at Wembley Stadium and retire before 90 minutes, because I got subbed off because Keown was our manager, Martin Keown, Arsenal legend, and he kept shouting the wrong name. He wanted to sub me off before half-time, but he didn't say anything at half-time, so I carried on playing at right back. I was getting spun up by Daniel Cuttin because I had no pace, and I managed to last, I think it was 75 minutes, and I got taken off, and as I walked off, I was like, I retire. So I think I'm the only person that can actually say that.
Did your team win?
We did, thank God. We had a very good team.
Who was on your team back then?
Jeremy Lynch show, wasn't it?
It was me. So we had Vuj in net, or actually I think he rotated. It might have been Poet. Vuj, me. I want to say Poet might have been the centre back, and we had a journalist as our other centre back. Can't actually remember left back right now. I think Chip, Gibb were on there. Rossi, Weller. I think we had Jeremy and possibly Billy from the F2 as well.
Fair in it.
Spencer, of course. Spencer was on my team as well. He was bossing the midfield.
How did that come about?
Honestly, I'll be honest. I actually have no idea how I got the call up. It was just because Spencer's a great guy and he wanted to throw me a bone, because I'm so bad at football. I had no right to be on that pitch, and I apologise to anyone that wants to play at Wembley in the fact that I've taken a potential spot. But it was such an incredible experience, and it was definitely for me like one of the coolest things I've ever done. Even though it wasn't that was in the first year as well, so there was no what are they called, spectators, sorry. But it was still just incredible, like, to be able to do that, and I really appreciate it these years later.
I remember back to watching it. I think what he did,
he changed
Spencer,
the game. He changed the game with that series. Really did.
I think he not only changed the game, but the ability to get, I mean, EE, I think it was.
Yeah, EE, because they sponsor Wembley. Yeah.
Fully on board with it, and just the level of production, everything stepped up.
It was a massive labour of love, for that. And he'll say this himself, I'm pretty sure, that so his partner took on a lot, because at the time his channel was still growing massively, and there's a massive amount of work outside of it. And obviously his brother Seb, who we know also through golf, it was like a real team effort. And off the back of it, obviously he's got an incredibly successful thing going with hashtag. More power to them.
Who, in terms of the YouTube space, do you take inspiration from anyone? I know you said you're a big sort of believer of, I'm not a believer, but a fan of YouTube as a whole as well, even outside of sort of the FIFA space. Into
I think definitely have respect for people that have made it to like the kind of epic levels that a lot of our mates
the ones
have.
that become the grandfathers of YouTube.
Yeah, but like we're old boys in the game now. So it's more of like a respect thing, I'd say, that rather than inspiration. But in terms of like the golfing side of things, 100%. Like, but that'd be like from pro players and stuff. But I wouldn't say. I'd say more of a respect.
I live in like TikTok world. I'm just scrolling all day long. You won't believe how much I watch.
I've got a lot of respect for people that have like managed to make something not just on their channel, but managed to make a business outside of it as well. Which is so. Like, for example, I'd say like Spencer. I think he's done incredible stuff. Obviously, all the Sidemen boys have done incredible stuff. Freezy with and Burnt Chip with the fellas, studios. That sort of stuff for me. Like, I respect that incredibly, because it takes a lot of hard work, commitment. And also, it's a gamble. You don't know it's going to pay off.
Nate Shot as well. I think he's one that I look at what he did.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I never really obviously I know who Nate Shot is, but I never really these boys I'd say are like my friends sort of thing, you know. So I guess I haven't got that same connection. But of course, 100 Thieves.
Big
He's
golfer
also
as
into
well.
his golf.
Big
That's what I was
golfer.
about to get into.
Yeah,
He's
he's
into his
into
golf
golf,
massively as well.
Collab?
Wait, listen, we'd
Maybe
never say
one
no.
day.
We'd
You never
never
know.
say
You never
no.
know.
We'd never
If
say
I-
no.
If I were to ask you this question both individually, top 5 FIFA YouTubers of all time.
Alright,
Can't
go first,
put
go on,
yourselves in, but Tom, you go first.
Nep, because he's just like his what was it, Ruin Around Him? That was just a different level at the time. It was just
Have you
complete.
seen any order? Just 5?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This, I mean, he was and then Harry, KSI. I got to give Danny Aaron's like he's the new generation. I didn't think that we'd see anyone blow up on FIFA for a long time, and he's shown that it is still possible, because there was like that period where everyone was blowing up,
Yeah.
and then it completely went flat, and Danny Aaron's just smashing it. And then I guess Castro. I know he's not YouTube, but I mean what he's done on Twitch is just you can't.
Yeah.
It's unparalleled.
I'll be honest. I didn't really ever watch too much FIFA stuff. I was friends with everyone. I didn't really watch. I wouldn't have gone out of my way, which might sound a little bit strange considering that's what I posted. But I think you'd find a lot of FIFA YouTubers didn't actually watch that much FIFA YouTube.
Yes.
If you're talking like I could do like top 5 YouTubers for sure. Like Casey Neistat, I used to absolutely love watching Casey's stuff. Going back, I mean, I used to watch a channel called Where's My Challenge, like way back in the day. Also watched a fair bit of Weller, because I was in a few of those videos as well, of course, like the challenges. Gib, I'd say I watched an awful lot of him. I guess if I were to throw it back, I'd have to say like iTemp. This is an old like COD reference. He's also he's at Apex Legends now. I'd say that they're the kind of core. I've definitely missed off a couple there because we've been watching for so long though. You're asking me to go back to like 2010. C-Nanners. How could I forget C-Nanners, bro? That, in fact, I'm going to take it all back. Forget everything I just said. C-Nanners, Hutch, Machinima Respawn, Optic Hex, and we'll chuck in White Boy. That's it as well.
That is a throwback.
That is a throwback.
That's for me when I was probably, I might make you feel old, like 10, 11 years old.
Oh, yeah. It's
Watching.
a slight dagger to the heart. It's a slight dagger to the heart.
I'll start the first half, aging you, but I'll start the second half.
To be fair, watching a C-Nanners video is actually the first time I realised you could actually make money from YouTube, and that's where I bought my Hapag HD PVR off the back of that with my student bursary that I got from uni.
During that time when you were obviously both smashing out the views, what as a breakdown to someone that's listening or watching, like how much could you earn from 100k views and how much could you earn from 1 million views? I know obviously CPMs have changed, but back then, what could you make per video?
Man, if I got the views that I got then, now I would retire twice over, I think. But I'm not retired, so it can tell you, it shows you how much things have changed over the years.
So off the top of your head, can you think of the 1 million view video you've done
It
and how much it paid?
changes so much though, doesn't it? I think I had that Banana and Sprite challenge. I think I remember when it was before it got to like 3 million. I think it was on 1 million views back then, which is weird because I feel like it should have made more, but I think it was about $3,000 or so.
And it's dollars, right?
That was pounds. That was
Yeah.
pounds, £3,000. But I feel like now, if you had 1 million views on a video that's like 30 odd minutes, I think you get a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But obviously that was the first video for me at the time. That was like, I was thinking, bloody hell, I'm rich. I was just come out of university. I was like, I've
I remember
got 50 quid in my bank account.
this was so on my second channel, I went through this period of just like clipping little bits of streams. And it was before Shorts came out, so it was before you got your vertical platform. And you just literally have like under a minute and upload it of your stream. And one of those videos, I remember looking at it had like 1 million views, and I was like, oh, it's got $1,000. I was like, that's pretty good for a video that was 30 seconds long. That was nothing. It was just literally me opening a pack, I think.
That's unbelievable, man.
Did it have your famous?
Oh no!
Play the clip.
No, that's reserved for Danny Aaron's channel only.
So the famous perfect link. Play the clip. When did that originate from?
So that was Danny just off his own back. I think he must have gone and been like, I just need like a reaction of someone screaming at a pack from Tom, because obviously I came up with the perfect link thing from FIFA Bingo. That was like one of the main checkpoints on that series. I think he just went back. He watched a whole load of my old videos, found the one that had the most ridiculous reaction in it. No one knows what the pack was because all he's done is crop the face cam out of it. So no one knows. Everyone's like, "Oh, what did you pack? What did you pack?" It was just an informed striker, Robin. But that back in the day, that was a big deal.
But it's those things that really do resonate with audiences.
That's
right?
timeless now. Honestly, I feel that's like a part of the culture.
It's good to become
which is a great thing, mate. To be fair,
you know
like,
what they say, you live long enough to become the meme.
Looking ahead now for you both, obviously, Tom, before you became a dad a couple of years ago, you went into property and you sort of documented your journey on that. What was the thinking behind that? Just a case of you just wanted to sort of build for the future?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a realist. Like, YouTube, it's not a guaranteed thing. It can come and go. I think we've seen plenty of creators that you would have thought at the time when they were blowing up, you'd be like, they'd never disappear, but so many of them have. So I was like, how do I safeguard myself? I had money put away. What do I do with it? I've always been much more into the sort of idea of something physical that you can go and visit, owning it, and having it as an asset rather than maybe like stocks and shares or crypto or whatever it is. So I documented me buying my first buy-to-let in Northampton, and those videos actually did really well as well. I think it's a good guide for people to go and follow on how to do a buy-to-let. I haven't done any since because my money's all tied up in my own house. Basically, the next step of that, like the next video on that channel was me showing my own house, which was like a grade 2 listed building that's completely run down, and it was supposed to be like me documenting the renovation. I went in there a bit green because I thought I'd have the next video up in a couple of months. We're now like 2.5 years in, and the renovation.
Good project.
Good
project.
The builder only really came on site about 3.5-4 months ago.
It's been a labour of love.
So now I'm like, I haven't uploaded on that channel for like 2.5 years. Are people actually interested in seeing what or even remember the first stage?
They're waiting still, aren't they?
They're waiting,
just
mate. They're sat there.
Yeah, just go in the
Popcorn's
comments
gone a bit
section.
stale.
There's one guy in there like just waiting for the update. Just waiting for the update on a monthly basis.
In terms of your Northampton property, all good there?
All good.
No horror
I
stories?
think, the only thing that's happened is the boiler broke, which it shouldn't have done. It was installed incorrectly.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Didn't you get a new one?
Yeah, I got a brand new one. Yeah, installed by a builder of a friend, and apparently he did not install the pipes the right way around or something like that, which meant it failed. And that was an expensive one.
I've got a story for you.
Go on.
Here we go. This will be good.
So I bought my own house.
Congratulations.
Thankfully, very lucky to do so. 2021 actually, and last year my water bill went from £60 a month to £400.
Yeah,
and I thought
that's a lot of that.
must be inflation. Must be
That's a big amount of inflation.
must be the price of water. I'm so bad at. By the way, I'm so bad at like bills and
inflation.
stuff.
Must be the price of water.
Honestly, and
must be a drought.
and because I was getting billed, every 3 months, obviously such a rise. I was thinking, God, I worry what December's going to be like. And I started getting these letters through saying, I think you've got a leak. And another one saying, get this leak sorted now. We're sending someone out to your house, like law enforcement.
Was there a leak? Law enforcement for a leak? No way.
No, because I wasn't doing anything.
I thought, wait, so where was this? Surely this water, this 400. No, by the way, it's not just a pool. It would literally be an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
There's an ocean of water.
Where? How big's this house?
No,
like what? Please tell me
what happened is obviously it's a new build. So I'm thinking, oh God, the pipes goes under the house. There's a chance that they might have to go through the kitchen to go and get this pipe.
Yep.
So the guy comes around and has a look at it. Thankfully, it was just on the bends that it comes in, so the water's just been going into the soil.
Oh really?
So it's been absorbing it all.
All right.
Wow.
So luckily I got it fixed and that. But I was thinking,
you can't get that money back though.
I think you can.
Oh,
It's
you
like
can.
you get some sort of leak.
Wait,
To
so
be honest,
3.5 years ago.
to be honest, I've not looked at it yet.
I think you can.
I'm just glad I'm not paying £400 for water. Yeah.
I think I've got a leak.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You've both been in YouTube for a very long time. If you were to cast your eye over the future of the space of YouTube, not necessarily for yourselves, just in general, you said you're a big fan of TikTok. We're getting shorter and shorter videos. Where do you see this going in terms of the style of videos, the length of videos? Because there'll be people out there who are 15, 16 who want to do this as a career. Not necessarily advice, but you've seen it for a long time now.
I think
It's a bit of a deep question, but we've got time.
I think Tom will have a different answer, or maybe a similar answer. But I'd say, obviously, the shorts is becoming more and more prevalent. I mean, I'm guilty myself of spending a fair. I'm a grown up, so I like to get my TikTok content from Instagram or from shorts like a week after it's happened. But with that being said, I feel like there's always going to be a place for like the long form stuff on YouTube. I think there's so many people that watch it. Like so many people that watch it. TikTok are also, although they have got very short video lengths, they are
landscape now.
They're encouraging longer. I think effectively they're all going to become very, very similar. They're all going to be very much the same. You'll have different tabs for different things. I think long form will still be there no matter what, especially just because it's not just your kind of meme content that you want to see. There are like, you look at stuff like the overlap, for example. That is, I watch those through like the entire way through. You know, I'm in my 30s, so I'm not that old as much as I might feel it at times. And if I'm watching that, there's got to be, you know, millions of other people out there that are doing the same thing. Don't get me wrong. I do think they are definitely becoming more and more similar. I do joke, of course, about watching my TikTok content on Instagram and stuff, but that is definitely like a bit of it's almost like a meme in itself that people do that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I actually think that they should go the other way. I think that all the different platforms should try and separate themselves from doing the same thing and really try and target down into a specific audience and really serve the content for that audience rather than try and encapsulate everyone. Like, I don't think we need like TikTok to do YouTube videos. We don't need like, you know, TikTok to do stories like Instagram. Like, we've already got those platforms for that. That's why you go to those platforms. So I think there's just an unhealthy crossover where they're trying to grab everyone, but in doing so they'll probably actually alienate a lot of people that they originally had as loyal sort of users.
You see with like YouTube with the shorts, right? Like they're trying to push shorts because they see TikTok doing unbelievable stuff, but is TikTok doing that? Like, I've never gone onto YouTube, flicked to the shorts and scroll through shorts.
Oh, I have. I definitely
That's how,
have.
for me, I just upload shorts.
Yeah.
But I've had, you know, I was able to gain like 200k subs last year just from shorts. Like, so for me, like, there are people that, I think everyone in their daily habits, you're right, some people get them on Instagram, some people go on Facebook Reels, some people watch just Facebook.
So that's the thing, I don't do, I've not once watched a Facebook Reel.
No.
Like, literally never.
But there's people that do, isn't
Yeah,
there?
exactly, of course, exactly that.
Well, I think can't remember if we've done a few podcasts now. I can't remember if it was a podcast discussion or not. I was speaking to someone that said, "Yeah, YouTube Shorts do unbelievably well because I'm a parent and I don't want my child having TikTok, but I'll let them go on YouTube, go on Shorts, and just scroll through because they know that they're going to get a more PG content. Where on TikTok,
anything goes,
anything can come up. Really,
Yeah.
So I think I do like what you're saying though, where YouTube, for me, it's always long form. If I want to watch TikTok, I know what I'm getting. I don't want to watch. I ended up watching a 7.5 minute video the other day on TikTok, and I'm just like, why have I just sat
It's like, when's it going to end?
Yeah, why have I just sat through this? But I'm there.
Yeah.
But how weird is that though? That you watch a 7.5 minute video on TikTok, and you're like, this is so flipping long. But you go on YouTube, you watch a 27 minute video, and it's just
I'm
like
watching
standard.
a full.
It's standard. So that's the thing with it. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing though. To be fair, I think if the bottom line is they want to keep people on their app for as long as physically possible, and if you dabble in a couple of shorts and then go back to your like podcast, because it is a lot of podcasts you see it, I think more and more. In fact, I'd say that's the bulk. It might just be because I've watched a lot of podcasts and the algorithm's giving it to me. But you do. It's like long. It's either long form now, like almost an hour, or it's shorts for me, and that's just I don't know if that's just the way it is. Obviously, I still got my sub box. I'm old school. I still use a sub box just to check, mostly actually to see like, if my own videos were hitting the sub box.
Burner account.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
Do you think? I mean, it's probably a great question. Like, you know, what do subscribers actually mean on YouTube these days?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
I think you could. I think, in fact, sometimes, I think having a lot of subscribers with and less engaged audience is worse than having a very small channel with a highly active and engaged audience.
I think it's best. I'll probably compare it to a little bit like TikTok, because TikTok followers, in my opinion, don't actually mean a great deal. They don't, because it's just
the way how long people watch the video.
Because the way the algorithm works on those platforms. Like I've seen accounts with like
used to be really important.
Yeah.
A like on YouTube from a big channel could literally make a video go from 10k to quite literally 100,000 easily. Yep. Now, a like on YouTube from a big channel is just as important as a channel with 0 subs. It's just about the engagement rate.
Yeah. I mean, the algorithm works like you have your core audience and it pushes, like all of the platforms seem to be doing this now, push it out to that core audience that watch everything. If they respond well, push it to a wider audience that may already know about you but don't watch all your stuff. and then they just keep on going in bigger and bigger circles until your content no longer resonates with that wider audience, and then that's when it dies. So that's why you see TikToks that get like 300 views because it's never made it past the first core audience sample. I've literally deleted short form content before, re-uploaded it, and then it gets like, you know, 30, 40k views when the first time it got 300. So like, how does that make any sense? And it's just that sample that they originally get maybe didn't resonate with it.
It's crazy.
I think sort of like looking forward now, you know, you're both driving forward with the golf stuff. Like the next 5 years, like obviously you're a dad now, Tom. I'm sure your goals are very different and you're very busy. Oh, cool. No child on the way yet, I don't think.
No, not to my knowledge at least.
What do you both want to achieve in the next sort of 5-10 years? Like,
I'd love to see the golf channel for me. I mean, obviously, I can't speak for Tom. Tom's still obviously got his FIFA stuff and everything else, and I've still got obviously the main channel. However, the golf has definitely become like a massive ambition. Love to see that be the top priority in terms of content. Which, to be fair, it kind of already is. Like we put a lot of time into it.
We do.
I feel like we've got good production quality, and I think the more that the whole community grows, obviously you've got other channels now being created. Harry and Theo just made a channel. You got amongst many others like smaller channels growing. The more the space kind of spreads out, the more the whole. It's similar to like with FIFA. The more creators you get into it, the bigger the scene's going to get, which is only a good thing because realistically, we're now at the stage where we just love playing golf, and if the fact we're lucky enough to be out there, it's literally it's almost a mirror image to what we would say 10 years ago. Like I get to play FIFA or I get to play Call of Duty for a living. It's now I get to play golf for a living. You know,
is golf the new Misfits?
Golf the new Misfits. I think Misfits. I can't. Nah, Misfits.
Is there a day when we're gonna have a big golf tournament?
I think I have to say this though. I feel like Misfits. I feel definitely 100% with that. But I feel like Misfits has done an awful lot for boxing. I feel like YouTube boxing, full stop, has done. And there'll be purists that have chucking their 2 cents about boxing and everything else. It has done so much for the sport beyond belief. So anyway, but going back to it, there'll definitely be they've already got like massive events over in the States, and I don't think it'll be too long until you get them over here. They literally just had one, a Desert Classic.
Yeah, the Desert Classic, good. And they, not to speak ill of anyone, but their concurrent viewership was higher than like Live Golf, which is like a huge competing brand that spends hundreds of millions in the sport.
Or literally
billions. Yeah, billions. And so you can see just sort of like the power that creators and their communities really have when they come together.
What about for you, Tom? Where do you see yourself?
So golf is 100% where I'd like to end up. Like being the face of the channel, not so much doing the stuff behind the scenes like the editing and those sorts of things, but having an active role in sort of like planning out videos and executing on them, but then past that giving it off to someone who's a bit more, I guess, professional than my level of editing. We have actually got an editor now who's doing a really good job. But I still have to do quite a bit behind the scenes to kind of get it ready for him. And realistically, I would like to have a business that comes off the back of the golf channel. Something that would make us more financially stable for the long term and not just rely on us as creators in front of the camera. Because I feel like that was something that always kind of was missing with FIFA. Very difficult to create a really good brand. There's been some great examples of it, but most of the time it kind of topped out at merch and then that was it.
You mentioned Misfits. Fancy you ever had the call to get in there?
No, mate, honestly.
Would you do it?
Oh, for the right price, 100%. The thing is, though, mate, I'd get knocked out. I'd get knocked out for if there's at least 6 digits. I'd be willing to risk getting knocked out.
Would you put on a better performance in Misfits or at the Wembley Cup?
Definitely. I'd like to think at Misfits. I'd like to think so. Realistically, though, I've got absolutely no training whatsoever. Due to my weight, I'd be up against somebody that's very, very capable of knocking me out.
Yeah, you versus Joel.
Joel would annihilate me. And the thing is, though, I know that. If you give me 250 grand, I'm in. No problems. I'll sign the favours right now. But no, I've not actually thought about it, to be honest. I don't think I've got the cardio for it right now. But, I mean, I'd never say never, but it's not something I'd actually considered.
What would be an unbelievable series is you, say, in a year's time, doing a Misfits event, but the only training you're allowed to do is golf.
Only training I'm allowed to do. What am I?
So you're getting
in shape.
prime shape.
You're getting steps in.
Just
them steps.
Honest to God, like I've done a few classes which involve an element of boxing. It's called Blaze at my gym. You get 3 minutes on the punching bag and then 3 minutes treadmill, 3 minutes weight section. Those 3 minutes feel like an eternity. The level of fitness you have to have. I'm under no illusion. Boxers, for me, are up there with the fittest athletes available or out there. Maybe footballers as well, because I think they're constantly moving. But boxing is so physically taxing. I would gas after 2 rounds. I know that. Currently, I might even make it to 1 round.
2 rounds.
1 round, 1 round at the moment. But I think I'd have to do some extensive training. Golf would just never happen.
That's actually a good. That question of the fittest athlete, I actually don't know what I'd go for.
It'd have to. Honestly, it'd have to.
I think basketball's up there.
They have so many breaks.
They have roll on and roll off.
They have roll on, roll off, but they have timeouts. They have timeouts and stuff.
There you go.
Ultra marathon runner.
No, they're just ticking over.
Well, I mean, no,
five-a-side football.
If we're talking like I think genuinely, I think boxing would have to be out there, like UFC as well. Like
MMA.
Anything with like grappling and like that sort of.
It's different disciples of.
It's not just the cardio endurance. You've got to physically be like you're throwing punches as well. It's an incredibly taxing thing to get into, and I've only ever hit a punching bag. I haven't hit something that's trying to hit me back.
What is it about? I know we started with golf, and I want to end with golf. Do you think we've seen all the FIFA YouTube, or most of the FIFA YouTubers, and a lot of just gaming people in general go over to golf. Do you think there's a connection between golf and gaming of quite like, say you're playing Call of Duty, that you've got to practice, you've got to get good at it. If you're not good at it, if you're not good at FIFA, you don't want to play FIFA. Is that bit of like, if you don't know what you're doing on golf, if you've not got a swing down, you're not
in terms of like the actual, if you're talking about like the fact you've got to practice and all that sort of stuff, then yes. In terms of the correlation between gamers getting into golf, absolutely not.
Okay.
Because I think there's like, if I was to take a sample from people I see in the clubhouse after a round, you got carpenters, you got builders, you got landscape artists.
I think it's an age thing. I think it's an age thing. I think just generally
it's a rite of passage,
the sort of people who like we all know as staples of like certain communities that blew up and have been around for a long time are now they're all turning 30. Yeah. So the big thing I think for a lot of people is they have to shelf whatever sport it is they're doing, whether it be football because of fear of injuries, netball, basketball, whatever it is. Golf is a much lower impact sport.
And also having the time. Also, you've got to have the time to be able to do it. So that's why you get a lot of my friends that are outside of the YouTube space, they play golf in the spring and summer when the evenings are longer. So they can get out, they can go to work, maybe they cop off a little bit early, get out at 4 o'clock, whatever it may be, down to the golf club at 5. You can play until about 8:30, 9 in like the peak of summer. Whereas obviously we're blessed with not a lot of time, but we've got free time. We can make time to play golf. Yeah. We can make time to make golf. A lot of people aren't in the position to do that. So we're very fortunate.
And how often are you playing a week?
In the summer, I play. I don't want to say this because it was. I could happily. I've actually went through a month where I played every day, every morning. But the thing is, also
just on the range or on a course.
No, 18 holes. So the thing is, though, my sleeping pattern is incredibly. I want to say primal. So as soon as the sunlight hits me, I'll wake up. So in the summer, that's before 5, 4:30. Some mornings I'm up, which means I'll do that, go to the gym, and I can be back to play golf at 7. Finish the round of golf by 9:30, and I've still got the whole day. And I've already done.
Back on the course.
What time are you sleeping?
He's like a postman.
I go to sleep at. If I go to sleep before 10 o'clock, I'll wake up by 4 o'clock. 6 hours sleep is pretty much my optimum, I'd say. If I sleep for longer than that, it'd only be because of if I've had a couple of beers or whatever it may be. But even then, I'm not a massive sleeper. But I am a fan of a nap after a round of golf. So I get back and have a quick, I'd like to call it rest in my eyes. But whack on a podcast.
You are getting old.
What about you, Tom? How often are you getting out?
Maybe like twice a week. But I've done a lot of work on my swing over the winter. I've had evenings because obviously you put the little one down in the evening at 7 and just get up to the driving range for a couple of hours and just hit.
Tom plays more than I do at the moment, I'd say.
Yeah, I get out more. Twice a week.
Tom has got the commitment and the willpower to grind out in the winter. As soon as my hands get cold, I'm just not interested. I'm not having fun here. So
get me back middle of April.
But the thing is, I would love to play more. If it was warm, I'd be straight out. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. But it's just if it's cold, especially when it's windy and cold, it's just like really can't stand it.
Operation Emigration.
Yeah, honestly, bro, like Faro's at the top of the list right now.
Last question before we go into full time. One brand you'd love to work with on the Absolute Bandits moving forward.
Oh, that's different. That's dangerous.
That
then
is,
you could alienate people.
Yeah,
You've got to choose someone.
If we could go, rather than a specific brand, are we able to give you a particular sort of industry as a whole within the golfing space?
You do that as a cop out, and I'll try and think of an actual one.
Well, you can just give me a couple if you want. Doesn't matter.
Okay, we'd
just name them all.
No, we'd really love, especially like given this time of the year, off the back of what we just said, we'd love to work with some sort of resorts. We were able to go out to Monterey last year in Portugal. That for us would be like the absolute king right now. So there's so many lovely resorts out there. Some in Qatar, Dubai, Spain. We're actually not fussy, guys. So if anyone is available, like we will go anywhere. So that'd be like right up on the top of the list, I'd say. And then also I think down the line in terms of setting up a business that has longevity, we're definitely interested in like setting up like a not merch specifically to the Bandits, but a clothing line in general would be something that we'd be definitely open to.
Golf streetwear. You can wear it on the street or you can wear it on the
course. That's what that golf wear is
Yeah.
very much becoming that. I think if anything, it's already kind of there with a lot of the brands. I think it's
Tom's sort of putting it on display today, isn't he?
He's going to the range after this. That's what you don't know. He's got his golf shoes in his bag.
Yeah, they're all in the car. I would say that I'm a bit of a statistician, so I'd love like to work with a launch monitor company, whichever one that is. So something that tracks, you know, all your stats from your swing, how hard you hit it, all that sort of stuff. So you can really like hone in what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. That would be good for us.
And Tom, do you have a space in your current development
so
for something like that? So again, guys, if you do happen to have anybody out there.
So currently part of the renovation, there's a garage going onto the side, which is the perfect width to swing a golf club in. So
and also the height, guys.
A nice little, height. I had to make it additionally high so that you can swing a golf club in there.
And that's why there's been such a delay, unfortunately.
There's a simulator space there. So catch me there. I might go on Twitch. I might stream it. You know. There you go. I might stream.
He's back.
You know, golf swing sessions.
They do very well.
Yeah.
Well, gents, what a podcast, Rich.
Yeah.
Very, very...
Learnt a lot. I've learnt a lot. And I actually... If I could drive, I would probably play more golf, but I've just got to look my...
Honestly, you know what? This is something I'd say. I'd say it's one of the best things you can invest a little bit of time in.
Yeah.
Mentally as well.
I hate
Honestly,
to say
it clears your head so well.
You may try to avoid it, but you'll end up playing it. And when you start playing it, you'll be like, I wish I started sooner.
You will wish you started sooner. And this comes from two old boys here, guys.
We've been on the podcast, so why don't you come and join us out on the golf course? We'll have a little 2v2.
We can commentate on you.
You could do, but I'm not sure how much fun you'd have doing it, but you could do. Now, guys, honestly, that was an absolute pleasure. We really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, there we have it, Oakley, Tom. It's been an absolute fantastic episode of the Full 90 podcast. If you enjoyed this, leave us a rating on Spotify or audio platforms, a like and subscribe on YouTube. And we'll be back again very soon for another Full 90 podcast.